What's up, Hefty? The last time we was on a podcast, we was talking about carpet. Now we have to talk about that.
Yep. But we're
You know-
still doing small cars.
We're doing small cars. I know I kind of was geeking out on 8 scale for a while after the Euros, so we kind of went quiet, and you guys don't geek out on that too much. But it was some good racing this past weekend at SDRC. We were kind of geeking out. Me, you, Riley, and my other buddy Tony was geeking out too, privately. Now we're gonna talk about it because we saw some pink pinion stuff, which I'm becoming a fan of the pink pinion stuff now. I'm definitely becoming a fan of stock. And
All right.
I enjoyed it. I enjoyed racing, and I don't watch much 10 scale. So with that said, let's drop that banner. Drop that banner. What am I? See, I'm messing up.
Drop that
Hefty,
intro. Come on,
Are
man.
you having the same effect that JQ has on me?
No.
Like making me nervous?
No.
I hope not. All right.
I can take my shirt off if you want me to make you nervous.
No, I would love people to hang around for a little bit, and if we start getting naked on her, it's going to be a bad thing. But let's drop that intro.
Nitro is the glory, but e-buggy pays the bills. Welcome to the No Name RC podcast. Get ready for some serious bench racing. But be warned, we speak our minds, express our thoughts, and sometimes things can get a little rowdy.
Hate, and he just was influenced by the hate coming from the left, the hate coming from the right.
And let's get back to more club racing and less of this money-grabbing book racing.
It's hard not to be arrogant when you're always right. You know?
See what I mean? That's exactly why people call you arrogant, Max.
You may not agree with everything we say, but it's definitely worth a listen.
And our pick, can you stop whatever you're doing?
Join your host, Lefty the Great, with co-hosts and guests as they get together to chat RC.
Hey, after that race that I watched this morning, I have to talk about it.
Here we go. $100 right here, $100 throw. Oh no!
I like this.
Yes, indeed. Nitro is the glory, and e-buggy pays the bills. But today, Monday, we are all about 10 scale off-road on dirt, not on carpet, but on dirt. We had the Raw 10 scale nationals this past weekend held at San Diego RC Raceway. And joining me to talk about this is who's becoming one of my good friends. If we was geeking out on 10 scale this weekend. And unfortunately, we don't have Riley here because Riley hasn't sorted out his internet situation yet. But he would have been here. He was in our group talking. Welcome, Hefty. How you doing?
I'm great. How you been?
Good. This is right up your alley. 10 scale stuff. You're geeking out on the stock stuff, which is great. We're going to talk about that. You do have something coming up pretty soon. You have like you're more of an on-road guy, but you have the NYGP coming up.
Oh yeah, got a few races happening.
Yeah.
But yeah, the New York Grand Prix is going to be going down at Donnie Leah's track, which is 360 V2.
Mm-hmm.
That's in New Rochelle, New York. And the dates on that are...
I know I kind of caught you off guard with that.
That's
Sorry.
fine. It's October 6th through October 9th. And word on the street is, we've had a lot of luck getting international drivers to show up. In years past, we've had Alex Hagberg, we had Ronald Volker, and it looks like this year we are going to have Mark Reinhard in the building. So,
awesome.
So it should be interesting. And, while we're talking about things that are more like on-road, just want to congratulate the Awesomatics team out in Europe this past week or weekend for doing the sweep.
ETS?
At the ETS event. Mark finally got his mod win, and Max Mockler got the pro stock win. And they actually had the first female racer take a win in ETS. She won, I think it was the 17.5 class there, which is just like a slower stock. And but yeah, pretty interesting.
Nice. And speaking of touring car, we talked about this last week, but we had two in that stock class stripped of their titles last week. It just because
that was funny.
talking about touring car. And so you have one person that has one place, and then second and third, it doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah, it's kind of weird,
situation.
Right?
Yeah, they didn't give the places to the other guys in behind because they didn't tech their cars.
But it's interesting how they did that with the motor tear downs and things like that, and I've been at races and Roar's taken people's motors in the past. They give them like $150, say thank you very much, and then they rip them apart just to try to understand what people are doing at the very tip top of the grid. So it's interesting. This is the first time I've seen anyone like get their win pulled, which is pretty big.
Interesting. All right, so we're gonna get on. I'm gonna do my thing here. I'm gonna say my thank yous to everybody, and then we'll get into this. This is just a race report. This is all about the Royal Nationals this past weekend. So we're looking at doing a 45 minute hour recap. So with that said, I would like to say thank you to all of the awesome NNRC squad around the world that support us. We can't do it without you guys. We're coming up, I think, on our 4-year anniversary here shortly in a couple months. So maybe we'll do a celebration for that. Or maybe we'll save it for Christmas. We'll do a big Christmas show. We'll see. But yeah, 4 awesome years. Super pumped about that. Looking forward to the 5th year, going to the 5th year now. And hopefully getting into bigger and better things. And hopefully this thing can start making a profit at some point. But it would be great. We thank you. Appreciate the support. It's been an awesome 4 years. And I think for me, going to the Worlds here on the 1st is probably one of the biggest things and biggest rewards I've had since I've been doing this. So I'm super excited about that. So thank you to all the NNRC squad. Also to all the patrons of the NNRC. We can't do it without you guys. You guys will get early release of this podcast. And yeah, just thank you for all your help. Also, thank you to the awesome sponsors of this podcast. They are invisiblespeed.net, TZO 200 Tires, TNR Fuels, High Tech RC, Beach RC, Mayako, Techno RC, Papa Willie's Traction Tonic, G-Spec RC Tuning, Racecraft USA, RCGP, Clinic RC, House of RC. Shout out to RC3 Raceway in Alabama, David Runnefalk, the Viking, Alexander Hagberg as well, my good friend, and Robert Baddy, as well as Jared T-Bill. And of course, to my another sponsor who's also a co-host and has a podcast as well, Sunpadow USA. We are going to give away a Sunpadow battery today. We haven't quite figured out how we're going to do it. So you're going to have to listen throughout this podcast. We're going to ask a question, and you will have to. Well, I think we're going to ask a question, and you will have to be the first person that answers it in the YouTube chat. And you're going to have to put how many titles we should make it a 2-tiered question. How many titles and when did he win his first one? That's what we'll do. And then when we find out the answer, we'll let you know, and you'll win a battery. But thank you, Hefty, for the battery donation. Thank you for your time. We was kind of geeking out over this race. You have a plethora of notes. This guy made notes, people. I thought I made notes.
Dude, you got to be off in the lab. You got to study. You know,
he did.
That's how you do well.
Yes. So if you guys didn't know, Raw has split up the 10 scale nationals. So now we have the carpet, which was held up in the Pacific Northwest, which you actually went to, right, Hefty?
Yep.
So you attended that. It was held at Northwest Hobbies. I enjoyed it. I think carpet is the future. Don't get me wrong. But I did enjoy watching this. It reminded me of OCRC days. Very similar. I mean, it's only a couple hour away between each other where they used to be. So at SDRC, which I think will be the home of the future Reedy race if they do it in California.
I would assume so. Just because
Yeah,
the Reedy guys can drive down an hour and they're there.
Yes. So I'm hoping that we have as I watch this race, I just kept saying, I hope we have a Reedy race and I hope it's her.
Mhm.
That's what I said. I mean, I wouldn't mind it at Hobby Action, but I like this track more. It kind of reminds me of OCRC. So we watched that. It took place this weekend. We had some of the fastest stock racers in America racing, which was a very competitive class as well, in 2-wheel drive and 4-wheel drive. And then we had some of the best 10 scale racers in America racing, and some in the world racing in mod. Max and I made some bold predictions. We were wrong about a few of them. And we're going to talk about that as well. because there were some surprises at this race. The guy that we thought was gonna win all of it didn't. He only ended up coming out with one. He had the potential to win 3, but only came out with 1. So yeah, it was interesting. I enjoyed it. I think we should talk about the track. Did you like the track? I liked it.
Yeah, I thought it was interesting. To me, the one of the defining factors of the layout were the 2 triples. And you know, if you got a mod motor and you're not making the triple, well, then you know that's on you. But like when you're running stock and to clear those triples and to do it consistently, it's super hard. And you know, I think it helped start to drive the difference between the horsepower haves and the have-nots. And you know, you'll find the majority of the guys that were making the main, they all have like a legitimate you know, power program, and it's not just, you know, I'm stuck to this like C team Reedy deal and I gotta, you know, use that for my AE sponsorship sort of thing. But like, you know, like let's be serious here. That's what's happening to a lot of these guys.
Right.
And you know, but yeah, so it was those triples. They often decided things. And you know, it was also, you know, how well you did in qualifying. Like you set yourself up for either success or failure. And, you know, it makes the main day a lot easier if you qualify better, you know. And so this was qual points 2 of 4. And yeah, you know, that's really what drove everything. The one thing also to maybe just to note, other than the track, is just like, you know, a lot of people, that's their local track. And there was one group of people that really stood out for me this weekend, which are the Raymond brothers, Levi and Chase. These 2 young kids, along with their father, they live in the San Diego area, and I'm just going to guess that they've been track ratting this place. All right, they did really well in seeding, and pulled off a top seed in Wheeler and a top seed in stock truck. And one of them actually has a new national championship. So that's really amazing.
Yeah, Chase Raymond actually. He won 3.5 truck. He went 1-1 and obviously he didn't finish it. I wonder how old these guys are. My buddy Mike.
They're 11.
Oh, so they're right. This is the dyad. This is the twins. It's like wow. My buddy Mike Sorchi was telling me this, and I was just like, wow, we have a dyad in the force, like twins. That's so awesome. Like twin boys that are going to be really good. Yeah, super good. Super happy to see that. I too enjoyed the track. I thought that the triples made a big difference. We've said that there should be a jump on the track. Like, yeah, it should be sketchy for the stock guys. You know, if they can't do it, then they have to double single. But they were able to do it. If you got in trouble, you had to double single though.
Yeah. And there was a lot of drama over those triples too. Like a lot of people's races got ended on those triples, right?
Oh yes.
And so the other 2 features, which were also kind of interesting, after the first triple, there was pretty much like, I would say, a short shoot. It was almost, you know, the size of the straightaway, and you'd come into a double right by the camera. And if you overcooked it into that corner, you saw a lot of people picking up their inside wheel, which was pretty interesting. And then they blow that double. And, you know, often a lot of passes happen right there, you know, either entering or exiting that double. And then there was some epic blowouts. They were calling it a step up. It was basically like a little kicker and then, you know, 2 increasing distance jumps right onto the straightaway. And a lot of drama happened there. So.
Oh yeah, that caused a lot of people a lot of problems. That particular obstacle, even Mayfield and the guys. It was, I think, because of the way it was just right in that corner was a pole right there as well.
Hard to see, probably.
Yeah, very hard to judge. But I thought the track was good. Like I said, reminds me of OCRC. It's good. I like, you can see like people are actually working on their cars right there in front of the, you know, they can watch the track and do that stuff. So I thought that was pretty cool. And it's a dirt track, so it's obviously there's no handout tires right there. They have to run whatever they want. Or
they did hand out in stock.
Okay.
But you could use your own, like a different insert.
Okay.
But the tires were hand out in stock.
So these are guys running slicks, or are we still doing the sanding on to ghost tread tires type of thing?
I think majority of people are using slicks now, but you know, if it was faster, you do the other thing. You know, whatever's faster. No one cares. Let's go faster.
How about sauce? Handout sauce or whatever. Open.
TDK was the sponsor of the event. I think they wanted to mandate that sauce, but
Okay.
honestly, I don't know. I didn't pay much attention to the sauce wars.
Is that a rule that they can enforce? You think, like one particular sauce?
I think it's pretty hard.
Okay.
So, you know,
All right.
it's hard at a lot of events, like on a lot of the carpet racing. They've been trying to enforce no sauce, which is hard. And like in on-road where you sauce all the time, like often what they'll do is they'll set up a sauce table, and you know they basically make it so that everyone else just would rat the other guy out that they're not going to the sauce table.
Right. Okay, so that's an answer. I remember Phil hired sauce police one time for Neo. I don't know. He had some guy that went around and felt and smelled tires. I think it was a joke, but it was serious. I think I don't know if it was an actual joke or if it was serious, but I think with the sauce you kind of have to let it happen. It's going to happen, so just let it happen. Control it a little bit.
Yeah, it's hard to prevent it. That's the problem. All
right. I think we should move on to qualifying as well. So we had four rounds of qualifying here. Obviously you had two. We're gonna for today's podcast, we're focusing on two-wheel drive, four-wheel drive mod, and two-wheel drive, four-wheel drive stock. We will touch on stadium truck. We may even touch on short course a little bit, even though I enjoyed watching the short courses going on. It was fun. But our focus will be on those four classes. So let's start, because we're gonna start out. Should we do stock first so we can geek out on stock?
All right. Let's hit up stock, because like I think the funny part with stock, because the fields are so close, and it really kind of starts showing where people are making mistakes, and where they're just effectively maybe even just being unlucky. Like I was watching some of the qualifiers, and in four-wheel stock in round 2, Schimmel was out on a TQ run, and poor kid, he just lands bad after that first triple that's at the far side of the screen, and something broke. Something in the front end broke. It was over. Yeah. And so, with that, he ended up, not starting on pole, and had a harder battle to try to go forward, and couldn't convert a non-TQ to a win, because not TQing and then winning in stock, I think, is pretty hard. And
and Schimmel's kind of been the creme of the creme, I would say, this year and the last year. His name has been coming up quite a lot. He actually stopped racing nitro to focus on stock. I kind of didn't get it at first, but as we said before, this is where the money is, and he's made a name for himself. It doesn't mean he has Coastal RC. His dad owns it, so, and he works there, I guess. So they do a lot of
they have a lot
carpet
of
racing. Yeah, they do carpet racing, but he's hit the stock scene hard through 2021 and 2022.
And he seems to be more focused on like dirt, like he didn't go to the carpet race for Roy Nats. So, he seems to have been investing his time in dirt. But, in the four-wheel class, he just couldn't get it over on Doug. He ended up giving it somewhat away to Doug with breaking out that one time. And so, AE got their first TQ of the event, with Doug then, and at least in these classes. And Schimmel got the TQ in stock buggy, and otherwise, if you look at who took down those TQs in the four classes, it was the scoreboard was TLR3 AE1. And
dude, sorry, I'm just trying to stream this while we're doing this, but I can't see you. Doug Lavere, I messed up his name, but Doug L, who sounds like he's from France with his last name. Who is this? Is he a young kid? Is he?
Yeah, he's a young kid. He was right at the top of the fields in carpet racing and in dirt. He's running that 10 scale circuit for sure. And he's I think he's out of Cali. And just a mild mannered kid, not not doing anything crazy in the pits. So he's got to be good for sponsors, and you don't have those issues like you might have with me.
Mason Templeton, you were shocked at him as well.
I was just, it was interesting to see like consistency out there. So like the thing that was also kind of big was there was consistency against some of the guys who were doing it. Also, Caden Fuller, in both classes, they were like up there. And I thought also Ian Crawford was out there making things happen. At least in two wheel, he was up front and he made the main in four wheel. So like some repeat guys making things happen in both two wheel and four wheel, which was cool. You also made note of a guy, looks like he was stepping down a little bit to try to go steal some wins. Tyler Jones.
No, I don't know if he's trying to steal wins. I didn't think he didn't win anything. I think he's trying to make some money. I talked about this on the last podcast. I think Tyler is he stepped away from 10 scale for a long time. And I think he's trying to figure out, I want to say he is a professional driver, I believe. I don't think he makes a bunch of money, but he's definitely getting some money. We have a lot of bikes starting out there. He's making some money from RC racing. I don't know if he's going to be a techno next year. It's not looking like it's going to be, but I think he'll go somewhere where he runs 10 scale. And I don't blame him for going in there and trying to get some of that stock money. Not one bit. Stock money is the way to go.
Generally, you're only getting money if you win, and maybe if you TQ. So like maybe if it's a smaller manufacturer, they'll throw bones at you for some other reason. But if you look at like who was powering the stock field, you had the sort of the normal names you would expect. You had some Team Powers, you had some R1, Phantom, and Trinity. That was it. Like you also had an occasional much more driver pop up in there. But some of that was in truck. I don't know if any much more guys made the mod or the four wheel main. Let's go look. Four wheel. You had one much more driver, but a lot of the kind of like the people you would expect somehow or another. I think it was Templeton put a Reedy powered car into like second on the field. Yeah, Mason Templeton. I don't know if there's really a Reedy motor in that car, and if there is, it's the fastest Reedy motor on planet Earth.
Why are they doing not to be as fast or something in stock?
Yeah, they're not there, and
really
they're probably 0.3 slower.
Wow.
And so like I have a driver who helped make the brand Automax USA a decade ago. He now works at Reedy, Associated Reedy, and I don't want to hate on the poor kid and their products, but Kyle Klingforth, past Roar national champion and on-road.
I know who Kyle is.
Yeah, and so he was at this event running stock buggy and four-wheel buggy, and like the kid could hardly triple. And so when you have to double single and everyone else is just airing over triples, well, it could be two things. Number one, maybe he just isn't so good in off-road. Maybe he's a good driver though. And then two, maybe his setup is wrong. Maybe. I don't know. But he is part of like the car design team at AE right now. And so I'm assuming his car is probably handling pretty decently. And I'm also assuming he's been to SDRC a lot. And because he just moved to Orange County this last year. And so they're driving down now, going to San Diego Raceway. And, I think it comes down to haves and have-nots of horsepower after a while. So,
yeah, definitely. So who's leading that role on the horsepower thing, you think?
Well, it's hard to say. You can look at national championships, like, and normally, I think there used to be a T-shirt, and there probably still is a T-shirt that said Trinity versus everybody. All right. And so, year over year, decade over decade, Trinity's been that one everyone's hunting. But in like the past decade or so, R1 is huge. They've gotten a lot bigger. Phantom has some really good products right now, And in the off-road space, Team Powers is still doing a lot of good work. And
okay.
so of those four, that I would expect those sort of motors to be in people's cars. And every once in a while, there's a much more driver that shows up, and they're super fast too.
So is
But,
Hobby Wing out of this altogether now? Like
yeah,
with
no
Ron
one's
Scher
running
out of
the.
there?
Ron Shore or not, in general, no one's running a Hobby Wing motor in stock racing unless it's like a handout thing. There was they have like a new motor. I think it's a G4. Which I think is legal now. It did feature decently. We had again like a European show up with a Hobby Wing motor. Max Mockler was at a race in Denver in April, and he did well with his Hobby Wing motors in stock and super stock touring car. But in general, yeah, they just don't have the they don't keep up with the like performance curve. They'll hit a motor, they'll drop a motor, it'll be good right then. But then like the other guys drop 2-3 more motors. And so they just don't keep pace with the technology.
Got you. Yeah, I would assume that it's hard to keep pace with things changing so much. All right, two-wheel drive. We'll go. You did have Tyler Paternod here as well. Is he a South Northeast guy?
I don't know where he's from, but he was up there and just like showing his skill like early on. But like the funny part is people who did well up front, in one round, you got to do well in all the rounds. And so, that's the other problem with qual points. You got to keep on putting runs in. And so, he did well in round one, but he didn't make the main. So that easily happens. You're on mute. Still on mute.
Sorry, he did make the main.
Did he?
Yeah, he finished in. Sorry, I'm looking at. He made the main in 4-wheel-drive. So
yeah, he didn't make it in 2-wheel.
No,
so,
he didn't.
Yeah, and like, so I think anyone who made both mains, clearly they had their programs right, and it was easy. It wasn't easy, I think, for a lot of these guys. And one of the other ways to sort of look at it is you can look at who are just the national champs in at the carpet Roar Nats. And we had two newly crowned national champions in let's see, I have this written down. So we had Sammy Moran. Sammy took because I know he was right there with both of them, so I got to look at which one he took. So Sammy took two-wheel stock at Northwest Hobbies, and this time around he made both the A mains, but he wasn't really up front. And so whatever the case is, he didn't get everything right. Every once in a while
is he a
I
dirt
see
racer?
him. Oh yeah,
Do you know him?
Yeah,
Okay.
well, I've spoken to him a bunch, and he says he's really a dirt racer. He runs dirt like a lot, and but he also runs 8 scale. He runs a lot of things. Like he races probably 45 weeks out of the year, and so that's a lot of racing.
Is he doing this full time? I meant to ask. So yeah,
I think he has a job. Like most people, they got a real job and they just have fun. They're gonna go race. He's in like I think he's from Apple Valley, which is kind of like, think about it as like Inland Empire, Southern California. And you can drive 3 hours and hit like 20 tracks, so you can just get lucky.
Okay, so I might add, he's a high-tech driver. He's one of the only 10 scale high-tech drivers that I know.
And then you had Jeff Stakowicz, who was also there.
Yes.
And he
Ohio.
was I think it's Pennsylvania.
Okay,
and
Pennsylvania.
He's the 4-wheel national champion from the carpet race, and he only made B mains, so he was close, but he just couldn't put it all together with his pace.
More competition at this race, you think? Local competition.
There's definitely a lot of local competition, and like I think what is interesting too is like they had a warm-up race 2-3 weeks ago or a month ago, whatever it was, and some guys did really well at the warm-up race, like Chase Lemieux did really well then, and again, like probably just the cream bubbled up, maybe people tried harder, and ultimately didn't, some people just didn't make the mains at this one. You're on mute again.
I got this kid out there screaming outside my door, so I'm trying to mute it.
That's fine. Just yell at him.
I need to get like a red light up there, like when I'm recording, so people know to be quiet. Like, be quiet.
Just scream at him. That's what always works.
So good stuff with stock. Also in two-wheel drive stock, we had Brendan Schimmel, TQ, Caden Fuller second. I think this is you have it in order. No, actually, you don't. But Mason Templeton second, Caden Fuller third, Ian Crawford fourth, and Jones fifth.
Yep. And then if you go to what you call four-wheel stock, just scrolling through here, shows up eventually somewhere here. I don't know. All right, here we go. Yeah, so it was Doug first, Mason second, Brennan, then Tyler. I don't know how to spell this kid's last name. Okay, Paternod, and then Logan Thompson. That was the top five. But yeah, a lot of repeat names at least. Heading into this main. But
and just to say that the young kid Levi Raymond, sorry, he finished, he qualified 9th, and then his brother 12th. So there's the Dyad were on it. They were on it. They were just a little bit short in the end on that side. Well, one won a championship in
truck, but
yes,
we're not talking about truck.
I mean, we'll touch on it. I really want to know if truck is still feasible monetarily, but that's a question for later. Four-wheel drive. Let's go to four-wheel drive mod real quick. Look at qualifying for that. We had Dakota Fenn. No big surprise there. I mean, Fenn has been killing it on 10 scale. Spencer Rivkin. I'm not surprised. I mean, I kind of am. I wasn't. He's been kind of. I said he looks frustrated, right? Well, doing well kicks frustrations ass anytime. So he did well this weekend. He qualified second. Brock Champlin, I think, was also surprising to see him qualifying third. And Ryan Mayfield, we had Ryan Mayfield in the main, but non-existent. And that was far from the truth this weekend. So
you guys can't sleep on him. Yeah.
I don't know if I sleep on him. I just don't know if he's going the way of Tebow, which is Tebow did 10 scale and 8 scale, got into this part of his career, still decided to focus on 8 scale, do more for family, because Mayfield has 2 kids now. I'm not thinking that he doesn't like it anymore. He's looking at time. And to put the time in to stay competitive in 10 scale requires practice as well. And I guarantee he doesn't practice it much.
I would love to know how much practice he really gets, because I think it's just all him just being a wheelsman.
He's Mayfield. He just shows up and does well. That's him and wins. That's how good he is. He's been doing it for so long. Aiden Horn, which is probably one of my favorite racers. I really like Aiden. His personality is great. It's good to interview. He's making him and his brother and his dad. His dad's good too. It's the whole family
kicked butt this weekend.
Yeah. Garth, I call his brother Garth from Wayne's World. He messages me and goes, "This is last week, dude. I pulled up to somewhere like a drive-thru, and the guy goes, 'You look like Garth from Wayne's World.'" He doesn't know who Garth from Wayne's World is. I got to remember these guys are only 21.
Yeah,
but I call him Garth. He won stadium truck. Short course. But yeah, I like Aiden. I think he done well. Your boy Cavallari, our boy, the goat. Look, I will say this now. Cavallari, I think, has earned another 2 years at Losi. I think he has. I really do. I think his contract's up at the end of this year. He's finding his way in 8 scale. I think he'll be in the main at the Worlds, and he's doing good in 10 scale.
Yeah.
He's not winning like he used to, but he's also not. He can win, I think. You know what I mean? I think he can win.
There's a good 30 people that he easily waxes. The question is, how do you get those last 2 or 3?
He'll get it. And Mason Fuller. So we touched on Mason Fuller, on Caden Fuller. So I just want to tell people, so the Fullers, I'm a big fan of them. They run HB now. They used to run TLR. Mason Fuller's been killing it. He's like, I think he's come second. He hasn't won yet. He's come second. He's come third. He hasn't won. He's been in almost all these major races this year. These two, and Caden's been just getting back into it, and he's been killing it too. Maybe not as good as his brother on the 8 scale level because his brother's been continuously doing it, but he will be. I talked to their dad. They dusted off their TLRs from, they switched over to TLR from last year, dusted them off, and went to this race. Haven't raced 10 scale in 2 years, probably. That's impressive. Very good. Very talented. And they both made their respectable mains. So, where was we? We were still on 4-drive. The old man, Dustin Evans, still kicking around, man. He's still there. And not surprised at this, Tater Sontag in 9th and Cole Tollard CFT in 10th for 4-wheel drive.
Yeah.
That's a respectful.
And I think it's big that Tater made the main. So, Tater is, he's not that old. And, I swear, like, he's very funny. He's usually rocking like this big gold chain. And, so.
Well, he had to get over that whole, the first part of his RC career where he was getting a really bad name. Or he was, like I heard, he was rude as sin. But he looks, I've seen him at races, he's calmed down, he's gotten older that way. And I think I call him Fenn's Padawan. But he's been making A-mains and all that stuff. So silently, he's been very silent. I think he's dusted off that bad reputation that he had in the beginning of his career, and he's just kind of focused on racing. His dad raced too. I think he was in the A-main for short course. All right. Shucks.
And we got two-wheel mod too, right?
Yeah, I know. I hadn't skipped it. So once again, Dakota Fenn on pole, Cavallari second, the TLR guys killing it, and then Aiden Horn, Ryan Mayfield, Brock Chaplin, Rivkin, Fuller, Aaron Kaufman, a good performance by the Northeast, Aaron Kaufman. I believe it's from the Northeast. Dustin Evans and Cole Tollard. Cole Tollard would probably be a little upset with his performance in 2-wheel drive and 4-wheel drive in qualifying. I would expect him to be up a little further in those type of races. I have TFT as a serious dirt racer, to be honest. So,
and you see like his seat number, so it's a 16 in this class. So what is it's like, 2 8s or something like that. It's I think it just talks to like how kind of stacked some of the fields was, and there was definitely certain rounds people looked really good. And it was really just a matter of like, if you didn't case that one jump, you would have made the main.
I know. It's so crazy. I mean, look at the names right behind him. Ty Tasman, BQ, Dominic Pacchioni. I've heard that name a lot. Tom from R1, Rent Connect. I had him as my dark horse going into this. Didn't even make the mains. I was so upset about that. Matthew Gonzalez, Born a Crime. You didn't do it for Mexico, even though I saw Ty Tasman take you out in the B-man on the triples. I did see that. That was Ty Tasman's fault. Davey Bada. Who else? Okay, so Austin Horn was the 16th. Chase Lemieux, Grob Gillespie. These guys are all like, Blake Champlin, Ron Duvall, Harley Yoshi, Lee Setzer. These guys are all big stock racers at one point. You know what I mean? Matty G and Davey Bada obviously being the 2 recent ones. Is it okay? So also, just so people know, there's no bump ups for people that are just listening to this. There's no bump ups, which I don't agree with, and there's 3 triple A-mans and then 10 people go. So is this a big deal for Bada and Gonzalez? Maybe not Bada so much, but maybe Gonzalez. Really, you think so?
I don't think so.
But it's on track.
But these other guys are still really good.
Yes, they are. Is
even if
the separation from stock to that much?
Even if Mayfield's running an old car that he knows how to set up, and he just like rebuilt his shocks at the event for the first time in a year, it's probably what happened. The challenge is he's Mayfield.
Yeah,
and
this is true.
Those guys are just really good. And
this is true.
If you make mistakes, you can cause a lot of your own mistakes out there by over driving, not you just launch incorrectly, and you decide to double instead of triple, and that will save your run. Otherwise, you're on your lid getting marshaled. So definitely
Every
gonna be
little
a
bit
factor.
counts. Every little bit counts. Why don't we have any? I mean, it's 2020. It's 2022. Number one, we can probably have longer races. I don't know if we're gonna have that. I don't know if we need longer races per se.
I'm kind of shocked that off-road is mostly doing a 5-minute, because like on-road in Roar we're doing 6-minute.
Really?
Yeah, which is a little different. And then in other like races, if you only have like a single main, then often they'll just like throw you the 7-minute or something crazy like that for the A. And so they do different things. Now, mind you, a 5-minute qualifier, 5-minute main, that all helps the day run. Like, because this is a long ass day, and a lot of heats, a lot of qualifiers, you get through the program. So making things longer, I don't know if it's really going to help. And a lot of the races were actually, as you watched them, not many of them were won in the last minute. Most of them were lost in the first minute, not one. So even shorter races could be okay, but it's hard. Like there was only one race, and we can talk about this in a bit, that I remember seeing someone come up and like knock on the door and almost like pull off the steel at the end. So
right, bump ups. I really would like to see that implement. I know it's not a thing in on-road racing. I'm sorry, in electric racing, but I just kind of feel I feel that brings some sort of excitement. I mean, we have 10 people in here. Maybe we can make it 12, so 2 people bump up. That gives these guys an extra. How to do it though? That's the thing. You have these triple
hard.
A mains and all this stuff, so you have to reschedule.
And it takes a lot of time. And like sometimes the other things that happens at bump up events, like let's say when you bump the whole thing up, like that takes a ton of time. So maybe you say, all right, I'm just going to bump the Bs. And so if you just bump the Bs, you might be one of these unfortunate guys that like just made Bs. And like they have this in on-road, there's a long-standing race, Snowbirds, that's been doing bump up racing. And they have bump ups. They do it on a Saturday night after qualifying. And then you go into Sunday, with you run the A's and the C's and the D's and whatever else. I've had many a Snowbirds. I had only, I think, one actually, where I was dressed up on Sunday being the A main car setter downer, because your race was over. All right. You ran your B's, you sucked. You had to,
maybe an
just
LCQ.
watch. So
maybe an LCQ with the B main. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe. Again, it's all about time, and like there's so much that goes into these events, and like they had seating, they have practice, and I bet everyone actually probably doesn't even think there's enough time or enough practice in the event. Like I thought it was interesting as I was watching some of the qualifying. They closed the doors at 7:30. Like racing or qualifying ended on Friday at like 6:30, and then the doors were closed at 7:30. When tracks don't have a lot of practice like that, I don't know, that kind of infuriates me. Like you're gone to this event, and it's not like you're closing, like the event is ending at midnight and you're like, all right, everyone get out. But like 7:30, I don't know. I would have left that thing open till 9 and just let people run, get some batteries in.
Yeah, but the issue with that comes in fairness, and unless you're gonna have proper practice, maybe everybody gets the same amount of time. But maybe 12 people to a main. Could this track have supported?
I don't think so.
No, I don't think so either. I gotta think that most of these tracks are about this size, so maybe 10 is sufficient. I just always like bumps. All right. I think we should get into the mains then. We should talk about the mains, and let's start with A1. We'll start with, I got your notes here. So we start with 4-wheel drive stock. So I know a lot of times you guys don't really do the mains, the stock mains, but it's growing on me, and Hefty really likes it, so we're gonna talk about it. What was that? 4-wheel drive stock?
Yeah. So,
right, so
in A1, a 4-wheel, like basically it rolled out with Doug, Mason, and Schimmel after that first lap, and then Schimmel was able to make a move on Mason on the straightaway. And what I was wondering was, is Mason really running a Reedy motor? That's what I was. I'm telling you, this is what's in my mind, because they announced him as being Reedy sponsorship, and I was like, he just kind of, I don't know if he bobbled on that step up down the straightaway, or did Schimmel just outpower him? But that's what I was thinking as I was watching this. And then, later in the lap, kind of, I think Templeton and Schimmel both started failing. As you were watching that double right by the camera, Templeton had a failure there. Schimmel like parked himself on the pipe and went from second to like sixth. And then, by that time, Doug, he was just checked out and gone. He was just trying not to fail, so he was, if you watched him at times, he was double singling, not doing crazy stuff, just like, nurse that huge lead. And then, then out of nowhere, Sammy Moran showed up, and, so these other guys started failing. Sammy just started picking up the pieces, and he ended up getting second. And Schimmel, who was like fend like fast, but just kept on crashing. He got third in A1.
And then second and fourth was the dyad, Levi Raymond.
Okay. Sure.
Yeah, sorry, he was fourth. Sorry.
Maybe. I don't look at anything after third.
That was A1. That was A1. Yeah. But good for the dyad. So and then in A2, let's go right. We might as well just do like
let's do the class.
Sum up the class. A2 four-wheel drive stock. So it's Doug. It was Doug and Mason again.
And then there was the repeat. Schimmel passes Mason again. So is Mason running Reedy power? I don't know, but it sounds like it based upon what was there. And
maybe they found something.
Sure. Anyway, so as I'm watching Schimmel chase down Doug, like in the middle of the run, all I'm thinking is, if he didn't break, if he didn't break round two, he probably would have ran, much better. He would have been up there. And then, it just ended up being that Schimmel tapped, Schimmel blew out, Schimmel this, Schimmel that. All of a sudden, a guy who was like inches off of Doug finishes third, and Fuller ends up getting second. Well, Doug just cruises the win, gets his national championship. So,
congratulations to Doug Lavieri. Lavieri?
I think it's Lavieri.
Lavieri. I like that better. Yeah. Lavieri.
Yeah,
I like that.
And you know what? A3 in four-wheel stock, no one watched it because we already had a national champion.
That's the unfortunate. That's why I hate when they go to just two races.
Yeah.
That's what I hate. That's why I always like it to go on to the third race. We didn't get that in four-wheel drive either. Yeah. All right. Two-wheel drive mod. Two-wheel drive, a main. So let me.
You want to do stock?
Notes. Yes, let's go stock.
Yeah.
Or did you want to go four-wheel drive? I think we'll do stock.
Let's just do stock, and then we can talk about the things you're more interested in.
No, all right. I just don't know these guys all that well, but I do like it.
And then, in this one, Schimmel had the TQ, and 2 minutes into it, he had a 2-second lead. So he's in control of his own destiny. And it was mostly a race where just people were blowing out in the triples, man. They were either landing it wrong or, whatever it was. And, Fuller and Jones, they had a good battle going on. For second and third, and then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, Schimmel crashes. All right, and now Jones is in first, and then second to last lap, Jones crashes. Schimmel promotes himself to first, Jones second, Fuller third, and like the back and forth there is kind of funny, and maybe Schimmel needs to go to Doug's clinic of stop crashing. But that's
pressure, man.
Definitely ugly.
Pressure. It's. So. I think, is it harder to lead or to chase? I think it's harder to lead.
It's hard to lead. Yeah. But he got it done, and that's kind of what's interesting. And then, again, like A2 of stock buggy, Schimmel failed getting onto the straight in that step up. Fuller passed Templeton onto the straight. Templeton shorts the triple. Fuller blows out onto the straight. You know, Schimmel is basically just gifted a lead by other guys wrecking. You know, he started the wrecks, but then everyone else wrecked. And, you know, he just got that national championship. Again, Fuller in second and then Jones in third. So, you know, it's not crashing. And I think the not crashing thing's harder in stock when you're trying to go fast and you're trying to make these triples and all this crazy stuff. And, you know, you just don't have maybe the
I did see a lot of
momentum
crashing in the racing. And to be honest, in the B main of mod, I saw a lot of crashing too. So there was a lot of crashing going on. Like more, you know, like I don't see Tasman make these type of mistakes all the time. And it's just weird. It was a very hard track to go fast on. But congratulations to Brendan Shaw. I was kind of wondering why he didn't go to the carpet nets. I just didn't get it because I mean he has a carpet track. Like, you know what I mean? But you know, he would have been in there being the favorite to win both of them. But I think he'll take one. He won both, but I think he took the more important one, which is two-wheel drive. I'm just saying.
Two-wheel drive is probably a little harder, right?
Yeah, I would say it is.
Half the amount of traction, right?
Yeah. And then I see that these two, Caden Fuller and Tyler Jones, two 8-scale specialists, I would say, second and third. You know, I know what the overall is, but in that race, you know, so I don't know. Brandon maybe needs to go back to he won, but I just want Brandon to go back and race 8-scale. That's why. But,
well, and you know, maybe he'll be excited that he won and run some, you know, next summer. Who knows?
So what happens to these guys? Do they now move up to mod? Do they stay in stock?
If I was them, I'd be cruising some stock.
Make some money.
Those paychecks.
I don't blame them. Stay in stock.
Because otherwise, you got to beat Mayfield.
Maybe they stay in stock, develop their skills until they get up there, but they have to make that. Do they have to make that step to mod at some point, like what Gonzalez and Bada have done, or is stock a viable class to just stay in and run it?
My opinion is stock is viable to keep running because, you know, realistically, until, you know, unless you have someone who's really special, like, and, you know, maybe these young kids, these Raymond kids, you know, they're into it so young, they, you know, if they're this fast at this age, they might just keep going. But I think a lot of it also comes down to, like, do the people understand how to set up the cars? And, you know, you can't just maybe ask your buddy for a setup and then, you know, change one or two things and then it just
works. A lot more tinkering in this.
Yeah.
A lot more tinkering involved. But congratulations to Brendan Schimmel.
And you know, A got to win. TLR got to win.
Yeah. The battle continues. The rivalry continues. It's X-Ray and Schumacher in Europe.
Yeah.
And then it's AE and TLR over here.
Yeah.
Dude, that's the other thing. It was like just a sea of black TLR shirts and then the blue AE shirts, and then it'll be like one little Schumacher shirt there, it'll be a blue X-Ray shirt here somewhere. Whoa, like those teams are still the dominant 10-scale race teams in America, I would say.
For sure.
AE still has a good team in Europe, though. Don't get me wrong. TLR has nobody.
They got nothing in Europe.
Nothing. But impressive to see after all these years that these two companies are still. The beef is back. Like, they're not the beef. The rivalry is back. It went away for a little while, but it's back, and I love it, and I like to see it, and I'm glad to see it. You know, old school AE TLR rivalry. Then, of course, on Europe we have the X-Ray. We could X-Ray Schumacher, I would say more, but then you throw AE in there. So good stuff on that. And congratulations to Schimmel. And like you said, it's maybe he does another year of stock. Maybe he wants to win. Maybe next year he goes for all 4 national titles, the major ones.
I wouldn't be surprised if he just doesn't, you know, run stock 2, 3, 4 more years.
Okay.
But who knows? You know, we can always reach out to him. I can go hit him or his dad up and try to understand what's the plan.
Well, we're going to talk about can we talk about, like, what's the possibility of these guys make what type of paychecks are we talking about from stock racing? Because I believe they get a percentage of what they sell after the race or something like that?
You know, Good question. I think a lot of people have a lot of different deals. You know,
Okay.
most things that I'm aware of, it's more of like, here's a rate sheet. You went to this class, you know, like let's say there's tierings of races. So like Roar Nationals are pretty high. All right. But then like if you have a win in Roar for stock versus mod, you know, like normally the multiplier, there's at least a 1x, you know, or doubling factor that occurs on that payout. But, you know, it could be totally different. It's very hard to understand this guy won something. Now here's the benefit of it. It's almost impossible to track that. But, you know, it's only if you have a brand where like, you know, people are seeing that probably with the Mayako stuff. A long time ago, Awesomatics in the States saw that, where we won our first mod championship in mod touring. And it, you know, it changed people's reactions. Like everyone didn't say, oh, I just want an X-ray. They're like, oh, maybe I should get this Awesomatics car. Although they have, the person who's saying that will never run mod. They're not that fast. You know, it just, they were looking at the top end, and then that drove their decisions, you know, for everything else. And, you know, I think that does happen a lot, mostly because people talk a lot about mod and whatever's happening there. But the reality is once you dig deeper and you look at what's happening in stock, you realize that most of the mod drivers are just like idiot savants where you can give them a grasshopper and they might, you know, podium at this event, you know, and the reality is like, they don't need the latest this, that, or whatever else. They know exactly what they need to do with any car. And it's really about whoever they're comfortable with or whoever's paying them the most money right now. And that's why they're running that thing. In stock, you know, I think when you start looking at the numbers of cars and like, or the numbers of motors that are making the mains, you know, that kind of helps show you which thing is really, you know, working better for the masses. And like, you know, so we ran some numbers, and in 4-wheel stock, there was one question mark. We didn't know what Ian was running. There was 5 TLRs and 4 Associateds in the main. And
that's about equal.
Yeah, pretty close.
Yeah.
And then in 2-wheel stock, it was 5 TLRs, 4 AEs, and an X-ray. So, you know, again, like I think it's showing you in stock who's doing it. And you know, it's it makes you wonder, like, you know, what's going on in the camps that aren't bringing the car counts up.
Well, also with the motor game, you can see the speed difference. Like,
oh yeah.
So in mod where everybody can do it, you know, the everybody's gonna want that fast stock motor. And I'm realizing that. Like I remember one guy was telling me, and he was just like, you know, he's moved on to full scale racing, and he was like, I said, why do you run stock so much? It's like, yeah, because I get paid. And he goes, I said, why do you get paid? And he goes, I get after I win a race, whatever race I go to, I get a percentage of sales for the next 3 months off of that. I was like, oh, okay, that makes sense. And then when you look regionally, how big stock is,
yeah,
it's just not, no, I understand it. It's like spec mod. But
yeah, I think it's funny you trying to call it spec mod, because the reality is mod, you spend money on, you know, not really tires, because tires you spend money in both classes. Mod, you spend money on fixing things because you broke something. Yeah. And then in stock you spend money on motors and batteries generally.
But what I do like about this, let's wrap. I want to ask you questions about stock, and then we'll move on to mod. What I do like about this, and I told you this, and I've said this before, it has what I want. It has a separation of classes with mechanical stuff. So we don't have that in 8 scale. We have okay, you know, you're doing pretty good. You can run, you can go sportsman, you can go open or whatever. You know what I mean? There's a definitive line, and it's something to work towards. I would love to see maybe a more spec class for beginners.
Yeah,
that would be like novice, beginner, well, you know, beginner class, and then once you graduate from that, that would be like your spec class. Then you move up to this class, which is your intermediate, where you can stay if you want. You know what I mean? Or if you want to run mod, you can. But if your goal is to be a professional RC car driver, the way 10 scale is done, it has a definitive road to becoming one, I would say, unlike 8 scale.
But
So I do like that.
Here's the inverse question to you. What do you think about mod drivers who are going slower than stock drivers? So in my opinion, it's like whatever. So in on-road, there's normally 3 classes. Maybe there's more. But you think about it, like the stock TQ guy does, whatever, let's say 25 laps, 25 6 flat. And if you're running super stock and you can't do 25 6 flat, maybe you shouldn't be doing it. And so I don't know what your take is on like the mod guys who might be out there trying to make something happen, but you know what? They're just kind of like out of control and probably like a little in the way and a little dangerous for the other guys who are really trying to do things in mod. Because you have to avoid them more than race them, because they don't have control of their car. They can't even go as fast as a stock guy.
Maybe they like mud. Maybe it's cheaper for them.
I get it. Like you like it, you like how fast it goes, but sometimes you're just like a menace. And
maybe there should be just for professional drivers. I don't know. On a national scale. I don't know the answer to that. I have a question for you, and we got into it. Now, so the times were a little bit off. I think like the four-wheel drive mod guys are getting on in the high 16s. And then like Brandon Shimon guys were like 17.4, maybe a 17.3, I heard at one point. Not a couple of tenths off. Yes, it all counts. Would these guys so my question would be, would these mod drivers, these professional mod drivers, go faster with a stock car? Because they have less power, they can wheel the shit out of it a lot more. Okay, they will make a mistake. The power will come at the triples, but slower car, easier to drive, faster. That's what I'm thinking.
Maybe, but then they'll just be stuck in the. Do they have a good sponsor giving them good motors and batteries?
No, but let's just take these guys. Like, let's give them the best stock cars.
Give them all the good stuff,
right?
Yeah,
and put them up against the best stock racers in America. Will these guys just dominate these stock races? Will they go Will they drop faster times than their mod times?
I don't think anyone will go faster than their mod time. Realistically, I don't think that's possible. But the question is like, will one of them maybe be more consistent or less consistent? I don't know. I think there'll probably be like a good half, half and half. Like some will bubble up, others won't. And someone's driving style might just not, be for that. Like, maybe they're off the power so much and they wouldn't be used to staying in the power to keep like up corner speed. So
right, like a mod, you can get away with just it's kind of like e-buggy.
Punch and shoot.
Yeah, because in e-buggy, I've seen so many guys that are really good in e-buggy, making A-mains and truggy. But when it comes to nitro buggy, then it's C-main. And I'm like, you need to practice your nitro buggy more because you have to carry more corner speed. So I guess in stock, you would definitely have to carry more corner speed and just don't have that power to get you out of trouble like e-buggy does. Like you can just, I messed up in that corner. I can tiptoe around the corner and I can still hit that jump. Yeah. So good observation there. It would be interesting. I think that would be fun to do.
Yeah.
I think it would.
You just need some race promoter that wants to do that. The question is, would they be able to pull enough guys to do that? Have like an invite race. Pick like 6 fast or 8 fast stock guys and 8 fast mod guys and have them come out. It's a good race idea.
I agree. All right. So now we're gonna move on to mod, the pro guys. This is where the other part of the money goes. These guys, most of these guys in this main probably got a salary, I would say. Let me bring up my notes here.
Or they want to get a salary.
Yes, they want to get a salary. So let's start with four-wheel drive first. All right. So
this was the
Rivkin,
it ended up becoming the Rivkin show, right?
Did he? Two wins right off the bat. made it boring for everybody, shut everybody down. His biggest competition looks like it was Mayfield, like him and Mayfield and Aiden Horn had a good hook in A1 and A2. But Fend, I will say this, Fend did fend himself in this race.
Yep.
And caused himself a victory.
Yeah. And like there was, after he fended himself, Fend and Brock had a really good battle. But then coming over the second triple by the driver's stand, they just kind of exploded each other. And then like through the 180s that happened after that, like more time got lost. And, Fenn was really at the back. Brock was still there battling with Horn and Mayfield and Cav. But yeah, it was, all you could do, and at the end it was, Horn and Brock trying to battle. But Rivkin was just gone. So they kind of were pulling him in a bit. Like he had maybe like a 4-second lead, and they brought it down to like 1.7. But that was probably Rivkin just being like, "Yep, gonna get this paycheck. Let's go get this paycheck." And,
good win for Rivkin though. Good overall win for. I think he needed that. He's been embroiled in this rivalry with Fend at first for like the last 2 years. Not a mild rivalry, I would say. Not as volatile as the Brock and Spencer rivalry, which was very quiet, it seemed like this weekend. So maybe they want the team orders to be just chill. But I didn't have Rivkin. I had Aiden Horn and Brock and Cole beating Rivkin this weekend. But much needed.
And that didn't work out at all.
No, it didn't. It didn't at all.
Maybe you motivated him, man. Maybe he listens to the podcast.
I like to think I did motivate him, because I do see his frustration, and he's probably going to be mad at me, but I do see, I've seen his recent posts, and he's kind of been vocal about a lot of things. I like that. But I think this gives him some much needed confidence going into the Worlds. It's a completely different discipline.
Yeah.
But
any win's a good win.
Yes, he needed it. I think he needed it. He's kind of been on the cusp a few times and always been just not very good. And for him, I think with the hierarchy that's coming up in AE with all these young guys like Cole and Aiden, and then let's not even talk about the guys over in Europe that are doing well. There's a lot of competition. Yep, the Hall brothers, the Caribs. Let's not forget about a certain Italian world champion as well. There's a lot of competition in the AE, right? In AE right now. I would say that Rivkin is the leader of the pack. He's the veteran of these young guys. It's 22, 23, I would say. And he's the leader of this. I thought maybe he was just like frustrated. Things came easy to him at first, but he comes out here and he gets a win. And he was, I didn't expect it. So congratulations to him. And then another person I didn't expect to be up here. I'm sorry, Mayfield. Don't be mad at me when I see you. And but freaking Mayfield in second. Like, I was just like, I did not expect that with 2 seconds in A2 and A3. Crazy.
And well, the other part about like Mayfield, I think he actually qualified well, right? So he only qualified 4th. And so for him to drive up, he just did what he did at the carpet race. He just raced better. And, there's something to be said, like lots of races, lots of A-mains under your belt. You know what to do. You know how to work kids over. Yeah, that's big. And, but Rivkin shouldn't be worried. Someone has to go steal it from him, like he could give it up by like folding. But the reality is, I don't think he has much to be worried about some of those other names in the AE squad.
Not yet. Now. No, not yet.
I heard you guys talking it up last show, and I was just like, I don't know, because these other guys, they just need to beat him down if that was the case. Like, it would have to be like month over month, race over race beatdowns for, something to really matter. And like, I know the other kind of X factor, what was, people didn't know how it was going to go down, but Brock did really well at this race.
I think he did too.
His 4-wheel, I thought, looked really good. And, it looked better than some of the other guys' cars out there. I just don't know if he has the experience on dirt And that's probably that X factor of how much time and energy he has on dirt. And the other thing that I've always seen with Brock's cars are they are just missiles on the straightaway. And so at the end of A2 or somewhere in the middle of A2 after Fenn blew out a few times, Fenn was like running 4th and Brock was in 5th. And Brock was just sending it so hard down the straightaway. He tagged Fenn as they get into the infield a little bit because he just has so much pace going down that straight. It's crazy. So, but yeah.
I have a question about Brock is with 702 going, hardly any racing in Vegas. What does he do? Where does he go?
Drive to California. That's what I would do.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, it's 4 hours, but I don't know if it's really affected him. I mean, but the thing about Brock, he has to stay relevant in dirt. You know what I mean? He can't just be, even though carpet is the future, I think he still has to get it done in dirt for now and stay relevant while it's still around as a class. I'm not saying it's going anywhere anytime soon, but I think he do it well. And also we have to understand is like, I think it's just maybe him and his brother that are there running the Schumacher cars.
That's it.
I mean, there may be some other guys there, but not on their level. So
for basically a 2-man team, they're beating all the other small teams right now.
Yeah, I'll give them that.
Or not so small teams.
Right. Aiden Horn 3rd. I give this a good run for Aiden. I was expecting a little bit more out of him, but he got a 2nd, a 3rd, and then in A3 he got a 9th. So, he didn't finish, so he must have broke out. And then Fenn, man, 7th, 5th, and 1st. I'm sorry. I'm looking at overall results. We have to go to. I'm sorry. I'm getting excited. We haven't looked at individual results. Individual A results. I forget that we're dealing with 3 A mains sometimes.
Yeah.
Are we going to move to A2 or 4-wheel drive? So
yeah. Well, A2 4-wheel, it was really just
Rivkin again.
Fenn fended himself. Oh, I'm sorry. No. That was the A1 notes. All right.
Yeah.
No. It's the same thing. So Rivkin
I'm looking at your notes.
Yeah, but Rivkin on lap 1, he got by Fenn. So he put the pressure on. He made a move in the lap, and then Fenn fended himself. And then what was good was for a while Mayfield ran down Rivkin right at the beginning, but then he fell back, and then it was like this 4-way Mayfield, Horn, Fenn, Brock battle. And Brock, as I said, Brock had so much pace on the straightaway. He was just really he seemed deadly out there. He just needed a little sniff to get on somebody. And Rivkin just cruise control. One more time. So, but Mayfield, Mayfield, no one should sleep on this guy. He's when it comes to the main, he's amazing. So it's like if you could get him starting higher. So he started 4th and finished 2nd. If he started 2nd, come on. Fenn fends himself and he would just be gone.
Yeah, I agree. Mayfield is amazing, dude. That's why I'm not counting him out at these upcoming Worlds. And Fenn coming up.
Here's the real question. What 10 scale branch should Mayfield run for?
I don't know what he's going to do. Because it depends what 8 scale he's running next year.
I guess.
I believe contracts are up next year. I mean, we'll see. Is he still going to be running Mugen?
I don't know.
I think he will be. But yeah, what does he run? What Schumacher's available to him? Who else? Maybe he does a deal, because I heard he was trying to do a deal where J Concepts would buy his stuff and he'll just run associated cars. So who knows? It's going to be the man's 35 years old, got 2 kids, and just getting faster.
Yeah.
I think we're going to see how long a person he's going to be the first guy that goes over 40 and still competitive, super competitive, can win a race.
Yeah. We'll see. Because he's still at that level.
Yeah.
And, especially with all the 8 scale performances, but still, even in 10 scale, there's nothing. Nowhere is anyone saying he's slow.
We kind of did. Not slow, just not as interesting.
No, you might have.
No, sorry, I did.
I'm not saying he's slow.
No. I would never say it's slow. Maybe not as interested. I don't think he practices 10 scale nowhere near as much as he practices 8 scale.
But at the moment, if he shows up to a race, he rebuilds his shocks, and he still goes top 3, top 4, I think he's very happy with that.
I think so too. A little bit of work he has to put into it to win or do well. Sorry.
Yeah.
So Rivkin wins that, and then obviously A3 of that. It looks like Fend ran out there and won, but it was too late, and he ended up finishing. Let's look at our overall results here for four-wheel drive modified. So Rivkin first, Mayfield second, Horn fourth for Fend, fifth for Champlin. Cavallari wouldn't be happy with a 6. I was expecting him to be higher than this. I was expecting, to be honest, I was expecting Dakota Fend and Ryan Cavallari second. Mason Fuller would be happy with that. Cole Tollard needs to definitely get up a little higher. He needs to be up in that top 5, I would say, or he should be striving to get up there. Dustin Evans, the old man, still making mains.
Yeah, doing well.
Yeah. I mean, I would say that he should finish higher, but I mean, he's still making these mains when Ty Tessman's in the B main.
And all the young guns are still trying to knock on the door.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. The moral of the story is that these guys have to knock these guys completely off the stand, and they ain't doing that yet. All right. We'll take a look at two-wheel drive. We'll talk about truck real quick, and then we'll wrap it up with some observations, rants, or whatever we feel like doing. So two-wheel drive mod, A1. We had Fend getting out to a lead. Let me bring out my I should have all this done. A1 mod.
Yeah, Fend just looked in control, and you know, his car was good, and you know, honestly, if anything, it looked like Cav had more struggles with his car, just trying to like keep it flat. Like he had a lot of issues getting over that double right by the camera, and yeah, you know, it allowed other people to you know, just go grab his position, you know. So like Mayfield finished second in A1 and Brock got third, and they started, you know, Cav was in second on the grid, Aiden was in third. You know, those guys didn't feature per se in that race. It almost feels like quickly Aiden, and we might have to check the lap chart, but like Aiden must had some struggle on the first lap because
he had a 27 on the first lap.
Yeah, he was nowhere in the mix. And but you know, again, Mayfield, he raced up from 4 to 2. Brock raced up from, you know, 5 to 3. So that's really good. You know, and even, you know, Cav was up there and he tapped, and that's where it went.
Yeah, that was lap 8. He made that mistake. No, sorry.
I think it was at the end.
Lap 8. Yeah, no way. He got back into third. He was dropped on the third at the end of on lap 8. That's when whatchamacallit, Aiden Horn got through to him. So I have a question. Why is two-wheel drive being the harder car to drive? I would say Fenn seems to be excelling this, not making as many mistakes, but the four-wheel drive, quote unquote, supposedly be a little bit easier, maybe even more 8-scale narrative. Why is he making so many mistakes in four-wheel drive compared to two-wheel drive?
I think because he can just go faster.
Makes sense.
You know, it's like when you have more grip, you do more things. And, you know, if he just would back it down like 3%, like I don't see him losing any race. It's just like, I don't know how you just calm it down a little bit, but like, it's that style. Like he throws the car and that's what yields the lap time. And that's what makes him so dangerous, you know? So it's hard to say. Like, I don't know if he could drive, you know, a different way.
Yeah, maybe
if he drove a different way, he'd probably be slow.
Maybe, dude. I don't know. I have Fendon as right now the best all-around off-road driver because he's good in 10 scale on all surfaces and good on 8 scale. A2, let's see. So A2 two-wheel drive mod. We had a Fend, Cav, and Horn battle. Let me bring up my
and so A2, I think the big thing to really think about there was Horn got a good start and got past Cav and ended up Fend and Horn got into each other, and that just gave Cav a nice nice break. Rivkin popped right up there, and then it was really ended up being Fend was like pulling up to the battle for second and then falling back. And I say Fend, it might have been Rivkin. Might be a note problem. Could be.
No, well,
And
Fend made it up to he was in third. He was in first to sixth. Then he dropped on to fourth, made it back up to third, and it looked like he was battling with Rivkin there. And then he dropped on to fourth at one point, and then came back up to third.
But the thing is, like, I don't know if you give Cav a lead and watch him give it up.
You can't give Cavallari a lead. He's not going to let a lead go by. That's what Cavallari does. He's always been good at getting this fudge luck. But the man's just that good. You can't give him a lead. He's not gonna. He's gonna be one of the hard. He's too experienced and been out in the lead. He's been chased too much in his career to give up a lead that easy.
And the same thing. Like if Mayfield was in that position, I think the same thing would have happened. You get that lead and you just run away.
I agree.
You do your thing. So they have too many A mains in their in their experience books to know how to how to give something up. So, and they might be thinking like, how many more years am I doing this thing? I don't know, but the reality is
exactly.
They're taking all the advantage.
Their job.
Yeah.
And then the younger guys want their job, but the younger guys they gotta knock these guys completely off the pedestal, and they ain't doing it. They ain't doing it yet. Not just one; it needs to be a few of them, and they're still not doing it. A3, let's look here. So A3 was, once again, Fenn wins. He looks like he got out to a lead and didn't stop, didn't look back. He and dominated that, and
I think right at the end though. I would have sworn that, like Cav started running Fenn down. And he made he tried to do like a last lap jump pass thing onto the straightaway, and basically clobbers his car against the wall.
Yeah. That's
just trying to send it.
Yeah.
So.
That would be why he had a 19.2.
Yeah.
Mayfield, third, Spencer Rivkin, fourth, Aaron Kaufman. Very good performance for the man from him. Do you know the Kaufmans?
I don't really know them.
I believe they're either from Pennsylvania or Northeast. They might be from Virginia, and I just have it clumped in Northeast for some reason.
We'll have to go look that up.
But I'm pretty sure they're in Pennsylvania. Very nice family. TLR driver. Good 8 scale too. Very good performance for him, I would say. He got 5th on this round. Cole Tollard, once again, like I'm expecting Cole to be up there battling for those podium spots. He isn't. But CFT will get there. Mason Fuller 7th. I can't really say much about him. I'm just happy that in the mains because he hasn't really driven. And Aiden Horn broke out early in that race. So and then Brock Champlin broke as well. So that's your final A3. Let's look at overalls for two-wheel drive mod. And it's Fend, Cav, Mayfield, Rivkin, Horn, Kaufman, Tollard, Champlin, Fuller, Evans. That's a good A main right there. They probably the two. Well, Aaron Kaufman's are making mains. If Mason Fuller doesn't race for us much 10 scale, sorry. So he's taking up some space there. But honestly, I had Dakota, Fend, and Cav winning. That was how I had it. 1-2 two-wheel drive, 1-2 four-wheel drive. Fend wins his like 9 millionth national title. Cavallari gets I'm saying that I don't want Barry to get mad at me. I'm not dissing Fend. I think Fend's a great driver. Gives the GOAT I think a very good setting going into negotiations at the end of the year with TLR. I hope he stays with him. And I think once again, these young guys need to step up and take out these older. And I have to throw Fenn. He's still young, but he's a veteran. And Rivkin at this point is a veteran as well, in my opinion. So for these young guys like Gonzalez, let's just look at Cole Tallard. Whereas Cole Tallard is probably the same age as Rivkin, and Aiden Horn's a little bit younger. These guys have to come up and beat them. And these guys need to, as long as Dustin Evans is still making these finals, and there's no offense to Dustin Evans, but I'm just saying, like, these guys need to beat, he's the gatekeeper. You know what I mean? I would say. And if you ain't making it across him, then you ain't on these guys' level. And then once you get across him, you got to make it through these ranks. And that's some serious ranks going on right there.
Yeah.
But
and the one thing we didn't talk about was in A2 of Mod Buggy, there was this like crazy last straightaway rundown where the same time was given.
I know
to Fend and Mayfield, and the problem was it was for third, and it's cool and all, but it was the difference between one guy getting third, the other guy getting fourth, and when you did all the numbers up, it didn't matter. You could have gave them the third, you could have gave them the fourth. It didn't really make an impact, unfortunately, on the final results. It looked really cool.
It did.
It's
like Mayfield jumped in the air and landed on the line. And then while he landed on the line, Fenn was accelerating to the line. He hit that wall so hard. I'm surprised the car didn't break.
Well, it might have. It only had to go forward. Didn't have to turn.
That was a hard hit. I don't know if Mayfield could be upset with anybody besides himself on that one. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm sure he might be mad at somebody. I think the bigger thing is like, all right, so let's congratulations. First off, let's say congratulations to Brandon Schimmel. Congratulations to Doug Laverde. Congratulations to Dakota Fenn, and congratulations to Spencer Rivkin on winning. Also, a big let's give some shout outs to the younger racers as well. Let's go through a lot of the standings here. So 13.5 two-wheel drive short course. You had Austin Horn, aka Garth, Adam Rawls, and Wayne Ryak, and I like to call him Dro, Greg DeConnie's son, Mushigan. He finished fourth. I just have to say that for Greg. And Brian, we're going to read out just the top five. Sorry, guys. Brian Wyrick in that. I'm going to ask you a question about stadium. I'm short course in a minute. 1 second, everybody. So
we did Wheeler already.
We did Wheeler. We did
13.5 stadium truck.
13.5 stadium truck. So Chase Raymond. Congratulations to him, the young 11-year-old.
And Brendan, he qualified fifth and he got second. So it's one of those cases where if you were just a little bit higher up, it would have been probably made your day easier.
Yes.
Mason Templeman with the third, Tyler Fenster with fourth, and Jake Thayer in fifth. So, interesting set of results. And then I think the only other one is, I'm sorry. We have, there's Junior.
Yes, let's talk about Junior.
Why don't you talk about Junior?
Where is Junior? There we go. So we had Ethan Hoskins, Austin Riley, Tusa Cabrera, William Mata, and David Bennett. It really upsets me that this should be full. I don't understand why this isn't full. But
well, the funny part is Chase and Levi Raymond could have ran this.
Yeah, why weren't they both in her?
Well, because they couldn't run that and run the other class.
Right, that's what makes sense.
So they were going for the win, the outright win, which is interesting. And the funny part here to me is like where you see the second qualifier ends up taking the win over the TQ. And there was another occurrence of that in the Masters two-wheel drive buggy. So you have Alan Horn taking the win over Brent Tilkey, who was the TQ, Brian Dunbar in third, Joe Pillars in fourth, and Kevin King in fifth. And there's some names in RC, in this class.
Mm-hmm.
And it's cool that it exists. Because I can race it. So anyway, and then there was also Mod Stadium Truck, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so this is Fend went from he got the win, and with I think he had 2 wins. He won A1 and A3. Dustin Evans, he took A2 and looked really good the entire race, actually. So he was in second. Rivkin had third. Tessman is fourth, and this is the first main that he featured in. And Chase Lemieux had fifth. So yeah.
So Fenn won 2 national titles.
Yeah, 2 even.
I thought Evans had won that, but it was a good race. It was a good race nonetheless. All right. Let's talk about some things here real quick, and then we're gonna wrap this up because we're actually going 30 minutes longer than we did, but we have to talk about this. Ty Tessman in neither of the 2-wheel drive and 4-wheel drive mains. Oof. Why? You say the car?
I don't know. Like, the funny part is they have a lot of trick stuff in that car. Like, they have these active diffs, and at the carpet nationals, every guy was sweating those diffs. They were walking up to Gord like, hey, you got a diff I can buy off you, blah blah blah, because they wanted to find some way to Dremel it and put it in their car.
No way.
All right. Yeah. There was an endless line of guys walking up asking for an active diff. And I don't know, maybe that active diff thing and that European technology ain't working on dirt tracks.
Maybe not, but not in the B-Mans. That's a blow. Like Tessman is a world champion. I believe he's a national champion in 10 scale.
I'm not sure.
Could be. I'm probably wrong, but yeah, I think I'm shocked that he's not in this. Like the early X-ray, while Paul Ciccarello was there. I think Tom Renderknecht too. Big surprise not being in there. I had him as my dark horse. I had him winning one of these classes, not in there. It's crazy. I guess every day is a racing day, not every day is a winning day. So what about let's talk about Gonzalez and Bada, because these guys are the 2. I have to.
You ride them so hard, man.
No,
They're
I don't,
just
because
trying
I
to
like
do
them.
their thing.
I like them. I like them. I like Born a Crime a lot. It's JQ's Padawan. But I think because I want to test my theory. Is the theory of the stock drivers graduating now to mod and making it? Or are we just going to see them? Because when you look at it, like, okay, Aiden Horn's a product of that. Cole Tollard is. But when you look, there's been a lot of look at Drayton Stock. Super fast stock racer, went up to mod, went back down to stock, now barely races. I don't want to see that happen to these guys. So it's going to be an interesting, I guess, like you said, we have to give them some more time. They have to get used to everything. I would definitely like to see Born a Crime. I think Bada raced some Nitro as well. But I like these young kids, and I think for me, it's just it's not that I'm riding. I just want to see if the stock class is doing what I think it's supposed to be doing. You know what I mean? So if they're superstars in stock, but then can't be superstars in mod, then something has to be fixed, in my opinion.
I think you just got to give them some time. Like, they got to get their power programs right. You got to get the feel you want out of the motor. And like the other thing is too, it's like you also need like the more seasoned racers in mod. I bet if they would actually help them, they
not
could help bring them up.
Yeah.
And
you mean like Ty Tessman taking him up? I have to say that again. Any joking? Ty, no Gord, don't kill me. Gord, don't give me the Gord stir.
Yeah.
Ice cold stir.
It's that guy. It's that guy. So don't give me the dirty scare, because I'm sitting behind you.
You don't want Gord's got those blue eyes and he just looks at you and you're like instant fear.
I bet they're really pretty. You should just smile at him and blow him kisses.
No, I like Tessman and Gord, but I'm just shocked that he's not in the finals. It's just weird.
I bet he was too. It was probably a long ride home.
Yeah, and this is the last race before these guys all head out to like the biggest worlds in a while. Like, that's not a good feeling, I would say.
Yeah,
no,
but
yeah,
they're experienced enough to have one bad race, brush it off. Who cares?
Yeah,
it's not like they're going to run this car at that event.
No.
If this was a bad 8-scale race, then they might be a little rattled.
I would agree there. But I just look at the mind games of these guys, man, and they never want to lose to each other.
Yeah, but I also think that they're also experienced enough to know that it don't matter. Next race comes up. But the way I look at it with the younger or the stock guys going into mod, I bet some of those experienced mod guys could help those stock guys a lot and drag them up a lot quicker if they wanted to.
Yeah, well, maybe
Like
they have to do that.
this is something where I think Rivkin could take those two guys and drag them forward.
Maybe he doesn't want to because that's competition for his job.
I don't know. I'm just saying, but I think that would help. And the other funny bit too, just to also rationalize this, those two guys, I believe they also have like really close ties with stock motor manufacturers, and they might be running that motor manufacturer's ESC, which probably is not good for modified, probably has no feel. It's probably like a light switch because that's what works in stock. So, sometimes the equipment you had that made you fast is now the equipment that's holding you back.
Interesting way to look at it. Interesting way. I guess that's what happens when you have that mechanical difference to separate you. Yeah, we need
But
that
like,
in 8 scale.
You drop in that Reedy motor and that Reedy ESC that were made 6-7 years ago. They work great in 2-wheel mod. You go get that 510 and you go get that like a 6.0, and I bet that's all the power you need in mod. And people might need to motor down to go faster.
Interesting. Maybe they have to go less power to go faster, less like a light switch.
Yeah, kind of like what you were talking about before. Like, could the mod guys go faster with stock? But like maybe the new mod guys have too much power, and maybe they need less power.
Right.
But
why not run mod with a stock car?
Yeah. Well, the funny part is, they still probably, hopefully they're beating themselves. Like the stock time they would put in, like I didn't look at that, and it's hard when it's qual points. But the reality is, if you're not beating the stock car, then you got to really evaluate what's going on. If you can't beat the stock TQ.
All right. I think my final question, if you want to have some observations, let me see. One of my questions is, so are we going to see this continue, dirt and carpet? I think so, number one. But is it going to come to a point where I just feel that carpet's just going to overtake and then dirt's going to be gone? Or you think it's always going to be there?
I think the challenge is like, it's about how long these guys keep their leases for. So if you had this track, let's say, I think it's the guy who owns that track is Sean Story, I think. If he has this track and he loses his lease, would he build it again? And like some people might be like, I'm all about dirt, I would build this again. Other people would just be like, yeah, I'll just roll out this turf or this carpet. It'll be simpler. And like, because it's a lot of work.
And then not only that you have to find the right building. You have to get a landlord approval to bring in 2 tons of dirt. Well, how many tons of dirt you're going to be in there? It's just so much more work. Unless we go back to outdoor racing, which I don't see. I mean, there are some sections, some people, some regions that do that. I just see it happening. Also, I wanted to talk to you because looking at the low entry counts, and maybe this is just my ignorance because I don't follow 10 scale as much, but is stadium truck and short course still a viable racing class where these companies should still be making kits for these classes?
The best thing that ever happened was Traxxas had the Slash.
Yes.
Right? And Slash got a lot of people in the hobby. And then a lot of people copied that model and made racing trucks out of it.
Made it too expensive.
Exactly. So like if short course stayed as the thing to bring people in,
I agree,
and have fun, that would make a lot of sense. And the flip side, racing truck, some people like stadium truck, and there's like little pockets that love it. I don't know.
Like regionally, is it a popular class? Like, are you going to go to a club race and see
each region? It's different, and like there will probably be like these 2 states love it, and then like no one else is running it.
Because we're talking about two classes that really do not run anywhere else in the world. Compared to America. So I'm just wondering. Then you look at the the actual entry counts.
They're pretty low.
Yeah, like what is the sense of bringing like when another short course truck? Like, you know what I mean? I guess they must use so much compatible parts. It must just be like, all right, we'll just make it.
Yeah,
You know, just
it's
so
like
people have
we
it.
just got to make one chassis and like a different bulkhead, whatever.
Yeah. Don't get me wrong, because I like stock racing and I like the short course stuff, but I'm just saying, like, as a manufacturer, when does it become like, okay, we just ain't doing this anymore? Interesting stuff.
Let's not forget about that giveaway. Why don't we repeat what that is?
We have a giveaway. Sunpadow. I think because it's 10 scale and you're her.
Yep.
Do you have one that we could show people or no?
No, I don't have.
I should have asked you that in it.
Yeah.
We wasn't prepared. You was super prepared with notes. I appreciate that, but I forgot that. So we're gonna give away a Sunpadow 2S battery. I believe.
2S battery. We'll do a 4,000 battery. Like you could be running in a mod buggy. Hell, let's do 2 batteries, and then we'll do a stock battery, a 5400 battery, so you can run mod or stock.
Okay, so what we'll do, I figured it out. So we're gonna do one YouTube, one Facebook.
Okay.
So what we'll do is, the question is, because he's a Sunpadow driver, Ryan Cavallari, the GOAT. How many national titles does Ryan Cavallari have? And when did he win his first one? And what was it?
And by win, you want year?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and then you want to know where?
Yeah, I want to know. I want to know where, what class, and
want all the things.
So you got to tell me how many national titles he has altogether.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
You got to tell me the year he won his first one, where he won it, and with what class
was.
I would go deep and tell you what car did he drive. I should go that deep because these are batteries. So and so this is how it's going to do. First person to answer this on YouTube, this is what you're gonna have to do. You're gonna have to put in the comments the dates, the facts of the answer. And I should make you put the time you put it in too. So we should see, but we will better see but in the comments that come up. So we're gonna do one for Facebook. So you're gonna, the first person to answer that question correctly on YouTube will win a battery. And the second person, and also a person can win it on Facebook by answering in the Facebook comments on the end when the YouTube is dropped, not when the audio podcast is dropped. You gotta drop it on the YouTube channel. So you get that. So you gotta drop one on the actual comments of the YouTube video. And then when I share the link for the actual YouTube, because I like this because it's more visual, you have to on the Facebook, on the original, and it doesn't sound, it's not that difficult. One for YouTube, one for Facebook. I know that this is like JQ's pet peeve with me. So remember, how many national titles has Ryan Cavallari won? When was his first one? What year? Where did he win it? What class?
What class? Yep.
First person to do that on YouTube wins a battery.
Yep.
On this video.
Yeah, and all the batteries now have 5 mil bullets, and that's been something we've been working with the manufacturer, and it's kind of been a little bit of a struggle to get just product, and things coming out of Asia is a little slow, less flights, but thankfully business is picking up, and flights are happening more, and so things are showing up quicker.
Yeah. So thank you for the support. I greatly appreciate it. Thank you for your time. We went way overboard today.
No worries.
But it was an in-depth recap. I really enjoyed it. And remember, the competition is one for YouTube, one for Facebook. Just so I reiterated, the Facebook one, you have to comment the same things. How many national titles Cavallari has, where, when, what class. You have to comment on the actual, when I share this video to Facebook on that. On the NNRC Facebook. First persons to do that win batteries.
And will you allow 2 winners? I'm sorry, like, can the same person win twice?
Yeah, if he's fast enough.
Okay, there you go. Get ready, boys.
So yeah, I should separate it, but
you already said it, so it's fine.
That's fine. That's fine. You know what? It was a great recap. I enjoyed it. Thank you for your time, Hefty. It was good geeking out with you guys over the weekend on it. Thank you for your input. It was great. You have fun. coming up with the NYGP, all the stuff you got going on as well. Your podcast. When is your next episode of you guys' podcast going to be out?
Yeah, RC Track Rats. We'll be doing that live tomorrow, probably at 6 Eastern.
Right, because it's all about ETS tomorrow. Will you talk
We'll
about?
be talking about that. We'll be talking about, you know, the beatdown I got this weekend at the local asphalt track, and you know, but with all losses, hopefully you learn something, and so that's what it comes down to. You got to learn things.
And Riley has issued a challenge to you as well in On Road.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
He said he said he's going to beat me in 12 scale. I think that's what he said.
Yeah, something along the lines of that.
So, and yeah. I invited him to a lot of races, and I said, "Come on out, let's go."
Right.
So.
Sweet. Yeah, I just don't think that's gonna happen. I don't think.
Hey, I would love to see him. Like, we could do a live show from there, like, you know, after qualifying. It would be amazing.
Yeah, Riley, get your internet situation fixed out, sorted out. Get it sorted out. Hey, you know what? Thank you for your time, Hefty. Thank you for Sunpadow and their support, Sunpadow USA. Thank you to all of the NNRC supporters around the world. We can't do without you. Thank you to all of the patrons. Greatly appreciate your support. Thank you to the awesome sponsors of this podcast. They are invisiblespeed.net, TZO 200 tires. Oops, sorry. Beach RC, High Tech RC, Mayako, TNR Fuels, Techno RC, Papa Willie's Traction Tonic, G-Spec RC Tuning, Sunpadow USA. Also, thank you for the giveaway this week. Racecraft USA, RCGP, Clinic RC, House of RC, RC3 in Alabama, the track. Shout out to David Ronnefalk, Robert Badier, Jared Tebow, and Alexander Hagberg. Remember, everybody, there are links and there are coupon codes, and not all of these companies have coupon codes. We have affiliate links. We have links all in the written description. Please, showing the sponsors some love, shows this podcast some love. We can't do without them. Hefty was good talking about pink pinions and slick tires on dirt and all that good stuff.
Craziness, right?
I'm actually, you know what? I'm actually going to my first semi-big dirt off 10 scale race in October. I'm going to the Masters of Dirt. I'm going to be a part of that. It's a big East Coast race down there at Beach RC. I can't wait.
Are you racing though?
No. The last time I drove Lucas's car, I got from about 10 feet from there to there, and then I broke it. I drove right into a wall.
You gotta blame the car, man.
Well, I blame not having a lanyard to hold my radio properly. So fully blame that. Smacked it right into the wall, heard it go smack, and my buddy Mike goes, "You just broke Lucas's car." I said, "I know." I felt so bad about it. But I'm not racing. I'm going to be doing like my thing. I'm going to probably work with the guy who's doing the coverage and stuff like that, and we're going to have fun. Okay. So with that said, remember the giveaway, everybody. Check out all the sponsors. Show them some love. Thank you, Hefty, for your time. I greatly appreciate it, and for your support. And I hope you guys enjoyed a very in-depth 10-scale Nationals Dirt. Raw 1/10 Off-Road Dirt Nationals. That's what it is.
The way it used to be.
Yeah, well,
kinda.
It's no mini pins out there, and there's no roost being
there's no
anyway.
jam and mini step pins. Sorry.
I bet you probably get more roost at a carpet track, like carpet fuzz coming
just
off
from the fuzz. Yeah, for sure.
He's like, you are full of shit, Keenan. Shut up. All right, man. Hey, so check out Track Rats tomorrow. They're dropping. They're a little bit more savage than us, so they're gonna have fun. And check them out. And
we don't have sponsors. We don't care about that.
I did. They are very savage. They are very savage. But Hefty's just calm. Like, you know, he's not as savage as he usually is. But I thank you for your time, man. And I see you again. I guess we'll have to do another 10 scale racer coming up. Oh, I know the 10 scale Worlds touring car after the Worlds.
Yeah, that should be good. Like, there's a lot of anticipation happening for 10 scale touring car Worlds. So we'll see what happens.
What Ronnefalk's gonna do.
I think he could make the main.
I think so too.
But you know, the reality is, like, who's gonna win? It's so hard to say. At the ETS race, every round, the top four were covered by 1 second.
Really?
Yeah. So 1 second, that's pretty close. Like 1 second covered like maybe, the latter parts of these main sorts, at this race. But like 1 second for TQ, that's pretty crazy. So
Yeah, that is. We need to get Reinhardt on this podcast, I think, and talk to him one time. I'll help. I'll ask you for help. I've asked. I just need to. I like to meet him. I like to sit off and talk with him. And
show up to New York in October.
What's the dates in October?
6th to 9th.
Oh no, I'll be doing RCGP the week after, and then mod the week after that. I can't be going for 3 weeks. My wife would definitely leave me.
Well, you wouldn't know. You'd know 3 weeks later. It'd be good.
I'd be living in my studio, and but the studio's in her name too, so everything will be going. Yeah, you got to do it Dominican style, man. Got to put it in your wife's name. She gets all the best rates.
Wow.
Anyway, we've been going on for almost 2 hours now. It's been good. It's been a good chat.
All right,
thank
brother.
you for your time.
Be
Thank
good.
you, Hefty.
Have fun.
You all you. Yes. Thank you all the guys that support us. We can't do without you. Lefty and Hefty. That rhymes. We're out.
Yeah.
Because 10 scale pays the bills this week. That's what it's doing. It's definitely paying the
Stock
bills.
racing pays the bills.
Stock racing pays. I like stock racing now. I can't believe I went from not liking stock because I don't like stock because it's not stock, but now I understand it more. I understand it more. And I found my outro, short outro. Bye, everybody.